Salut.
Salut.
I'm here with sOAZ, top laner for Fnatic, and going to do one of my Grilled interviews with him. And so the place I want to start with you. I mean, this might sound like a worn-out topic, but everyone always wants to know about Season 1 of the Riot Championship. But whereas most people assume, oh, well, because your team came second and you played Fnatic in the final, oh, you must have been like one of the best teams in all of Europe, etc. But when I looked back into that tournament, you weren't one of the favourite teams to win, actually, because these American teams were very hyped at the time. And people were thinking, for example, like CLG might win the tournament. And then I remember in the group stage, you actually lost to Epic Gamer, the ones who had Dyrus and those guys. And you had to actually play them, or you had to beat TSM, that's it, in the bracket stage to reach Fnatic, etc. So when you think back to that time, was it the case that you yourself thought of like TSM, CLG, were these like the better teams, the big teams? Were you an underdog compared to them?
Actually, yeah, I thought that they would have been better than us. I was watching a lot of NA streams like Hotshot back in time and all people like this. But actually when we played them, we were like, they are not that strong. And I was only scared about TSM because they are really strong and it was really close games. So yeah.
You actually said, I noticed in an interview somewhere, that your most memorable game ever was actually the series against TSM at this tournament. I mean, was it just because they were so famous? Was there something about the game that was so memorable as well?
It's just about the game, the base race we did against TSM. It was my first big event, and the first memory was just the base race. It was so much pressure. So yeah.
It's interesting you would say that you used to watch streams of HotshotGG, because I saw this in my research. You said that before you became a pro, so before you even played that first invitational for IEM, you used to actually watch HotshotGG stream. This was back for people who are just watching now, like when Hotshot was considered like the best top laner, the best player in the world, and he was the most popular streamer. And you said like you'd copied some things from that, you'd designed some things off it. You actually, when I look through your career, for a European, you've played HotshotGG like an unreal amount of times. Like you played him loads of times early in your career, and basically nearly all the time in your career, you always lost to him and his teams whenever you played them. So whether you were in Millenium, whether you're in AAA, it wasn't until the end in Fnatic, like IPL, I think, till you first beat them all. And so you even lost to them in WCG. Was Hotshot like an idol for you? Like what did you think of him? Because people, you know, now everyone's very down on him in the community. They say like he can't play that top position anymore. Like if he wasn't the leader of his team, he'd be cut from it, you know, and stuff. So like how good actually was he then, and what did you think of him when you used to play him all these times?
I think it depends on the meta. Back in Season 1, Season 2, he was good because he could play tank top and all these kind of heroes. So yeah, like Season 1 I copied his nRated. I inspired me of playing nRated. I was playing a lot of AP nRated top. So that's it mostly. But otherwise I wasn't that scared of him. But yeah.
I mean, what was he very good at the time? I mean, obviously your team was losing to him overall, but I mean, you faced him a lot of times in matches they won. So was he very good at that time? Like, was he actually the best top laner, do you think, during this period of time?
I don't think so.
Okay. Who would you pick then for that?
What season?
Like Season 1 going into the middle part of Season 2, you know.
Season 1, but it's different because I don't even remember all the top laner back in Season 1. Because everyone swapped, like, even Wickd was not playing top lane, and I don't really remember, but I would say Rayman was good as well in Season 1, so yeah, he was good at his role, like covering his teammates. He played a bit like me, but not the same champion pool.
Like I say, you actually not only played him like in 2011, you played him a bit in Season 2, and then when Fnatic went with IPL, the one you came second at, you played them there as well. And so you actually played him for even into the period where we're talking about now, where people started to criticise him and say his style wouldn't work at top anymore. Ignoring just his skills, is it the case that playing that style of trying to play like tanks top, sort of like bruisers and stuff, and just try and go even or not try and win the lane 1v1, is that really not viable for a top team at the top position, do you think?
it's if you can have equal farm, it's fine. But the thing is, he never win his lane almost. He always do equal or a bit bad. But with his champion, like tanking champs, you cannot really snowball the lane. If you play a bruiser like Renekton or all these kind of heroes, you can snowball really hard with a tank. You can just do equal. Like, it's the only thing you can do if you do your best. Just do equal farm versus farm and try to put pressure on top so the jungle just gank you and your team can manage to do Drake or stuff like that. They always do it with teleport. They really like to play with teleport and split push. So yeah.
In terms of how playing the top position has changed over the years, like through the 3 seasons. So in the early days here, like we were saying, this style of HotshotGG was viable. And then when we go into season 2, I always remember that's when like Voyboy became quite famous and he was playing all these assassins, etc. And now in season 3, top sort of changed again. There was a lot of like 2v1 meta. Is it the case that since everyone's always said you've had such a great, like a wide champion pool, have you actually always changed your style to fit what the meta was at the time? Have you always had one overall style at top? What do you think?
I always play a lot of champions, season 1, season 2, season 3, doesn't matter. So since I play a lot of champion, I can adapt to the meta. So I don't really care if it's tank or bruiser or split pushers. It's the same for me. I can adapt to any playstyle. I don't have a fixed playstyle. For example, if I play against Wickd, I can almost predict what he's gonna do on lane. It depends of the hero I got and what of my team needs. If we need globals, if we need to split push, a lot of things like that.
From talking to other pros, even back in season 1, they thought of Wickd as one of the strongest top laners. He was also obviously a very famous one from Europe. And in season 2, his team was very strong. Now we had this big battle over All-Star, like you versus him, 1v1, etc. And so there's a lot of fun for people. But did you actually think before you played in 1v1, just from past games, like overall, did you feel like you were the stronger top lane just between the two of you individually, you know, not like team success?
I don't think I'm stronger than Wickd one-on-one. I can do equal. Sometimes I will kill him if he do mistakes, but otherwise I won't do so much against him. I won't try crazy stuff because I don't know. I feel he's stronger one-on-one, as I said, but I don't know. In team fight, I'm good at positioning and making calls or stuff like that. So yeah.
A lot of the famous top laners from like the season 2 era are a lot of the guys who like were amazing at 1v1. So I mentioned like Voyboy, Wickd. You can even put in people like Macnoon, etc. Guys who are going to win their lane, and that's like the main approach they're going to have. Do you think that in season 3, is there a degree to which that's not as effective anymore? I mean, we see a lot of really good top players who are like synergized with the 2v1s, etc., and the rest of the team. Like that's kind of what sounds like you're describing how you pick your champions, etc. Is that the better style for now, do you think?
In my opinion, the best style is to pick a champion which is viable one-on-one and 1 versus 2.
Can you give me some examples?
Zed is really good one-on-one, 1 versus 2 because you can farm with Q. Renekton is also great because when they try to dive you, can dash around and stun someone, so he's gonna die for sure by the turrets. I'm playing right now Nunu, and he's also really nice because you can hit minion and one-on-one is really strong. A lot of heroes like that.
I saw you make an interesting comment actually in an interview this year in January, where you actually said that if you weren't a pro player, you probably wouldn't be playing League of Legends anymore. And you said it in response to like the changes of like game becoming more about playing like bruisers, etc. in the top position. Does this still hold now? Was that just something you thought then? Like I mean, obviously you're a pro, so you want to play now, but I mean, in terms of actual fun when you're playing like big games, is the actual game itself still fun at top lane? What you like, you know?
Actually, I don't have really fun playing League of Legends. I just play for winning and for the tournament and all this stuff. If I play solo queue or games like that, I don't have any fun. I prefer to play other games, but I still practice, and what motivates me is to find new heroes, to find new heroes, like to change the meta or stuff like that.
So the thing you're actually most famous for is playing a wide champion pool. And you were mentioning there, like, this has kind of always been your approach, to have a lot of champions available so you can pick them depending on what the team needs. The difficult thing about that is a lot of players, a lot of pro players, always try to say they have a really wide champion pool. Like, I've seen even players who play for, like, say, the 10th best team in their region say, oh yeah, I've mastered 10 champions and stuff. It's like if they really had mastered 10 champions, they'd be like an incredible player, you know, because we think of some players, like, and someone like Shai, one of the Koreans, he was quite famous early on for only having a very small champion pool, but, like, incredible all those champions, so he could still, like, destroy any top team. Does this mean that you have some sort of special talent if you're able to be so good at so many top champions compared to other top players?
Well, I play a lot of champions, but I don't really master them. I play them for once or twice. If it's like, for example, Nunu, I don't think I will play it so much more anymore. But I master maybe five or 6 champion maximum, and maybe 10 or 20, 10 to 15 I would say, is just like casual champion. It depends of what matchup and what my teams need, as you say.
Oh, okay. Who do you think you've mastered? Who comes to mind as like, these are definitely, I've got these ones sorted?
I would say Shen, I know him really well. Kha'Zix. There is a lot of champions I still play, but they are not that viable. Lee Sin, Nidalee as well, since season 1, season 2, but you can play her in season 3 because of lane swap and all this stuff. And I don't know. I did the list of champions.
Okay. So in that case, since like I was mentioning there, it's very difficult to have a really wide champion pool, because to some degree, if you're practicing all these champions, it's harder still to have even your very good ones be like absolute top level. That's why a lot of people just focus in on the few, you know. So is it the case that when you use these other champions that you aren't your main ones, you don't play them in like a default style, like you have a special like trick up your sleeve or something very special, specific planned for that champion?
Depends of what side. Yeah, you can, like, if you have a really strong champion for lane like Darius or Renekton, and if you are blue side with Wolf, you're gonna get level 2 faster. So if you get the blue side, you always try to win your lane most of the time. Like, pick a strong champion, get level 2 and put as much pressure as you can. And if you kill your opponent really early, you're gonna snowball your lane. So depends of what side you have, you can adapt your champion, what champion to pick for this side and for the other side.
When I listen to interviews, or I've spoken to other people who are considered top players, like at the top position, a lot of them take like pride in like, oh, I can win my lane 1v1 versus anyone, like I'm not afraid to go 1v1. But actually, even though you're considered one of Europe's best at top, there's often a lot of cases where you'll just like lane swap against someone in a certain match, and you might not even never play them 1v1. Is it the case that you think like it's a bad idea to just always have the top laner always be top? Like, should you always incorporate like strategy like this, like lane swaps, etc.? How viable is that now?
It's mostly the playstyle of Wickd. Wickd is always want to phase the top laner. He don't really want a lane swap, even though he's not that bad at lane swapping. But well, people mostly swap lane. It depends on what side you have. If you're at the top side, you can have golems, and the top laner can have walls, so it gives a lot of advantage compared to the other side. If you don't swap lane, you're gonna get disadvantage, because the top lane is gonna get wolf and gonna get level 2 faster than the other top lane, and you're gonna miss not the XP but the golds. And same for bottom, but the AD is gonna get level 2 and he's gonna put a lot of pressure, so it's already disadvantage if you don't lane swap. You can manage to do it if you if you do something tricky, but most of the time it don't always depend on the top lane. Also the bot lane, they are like, yeah, 2-on-2 we are not that strong, and if they got golems, they're gonna snowball the arena really hard. So I'm like, yeah, I can pick a good champion 1v2 and we are just gonna lane swap. I'm not always looking on the other top laner, what to counter pick or something like that.
Earlier in your career, when you got to play again, when you were in against All Authority still, and you got to play against Dignitas, this was when Voyboy became famous, basically, this tournament in Hanover, and he won the MVP award and all that stuff. And so he's someone where people often say like he's very good at like aggressive 1v1 style. When he was at this period when he became the most famous, like for his style, like what did you think of him then? Like facing him, like what were his strengths? What was difficult about facing him? What did you do, etc.?
You can compare Voyboy to Wickd. They really want to win their lane and they play strong champion early. Not that good in team fight, but really strong laners. So I believe he played Lee Sin 2 times against me, and he was kinda OP. I was playing him as well, but I was not doing the same skill order. He was like going for W max and try to sustain as much as possible. So yeah, he just had, in my opinion, when we played them, a good champion, and no one played it against me before, so I was like, what can I do against this? And yeah.
When I looked back into your career and I even read like some old interviews, you made this comment that when you were in against All Authority, you guys were like owning all of Europe online. But then when I looked at actual tournaments, aside from season 1 championship where you did quite well, you guys always seemed to like, you would never make like the final of tournaments. And in fact, you lost loads of times in your career in like 3rd place games. You'd always lose these matches. Was there some problem in against All Authority? Like when you played online, was it less serious and it was easy to win? Like what was the problem in terms of turning it into like offline success and leading into Millenium, you know?
Yeah, we were winning mostly every tournament online. Offline, we didn't do that bad at Hanover.
Yeah, did okay.
But yeah, we didn't do so good at IPL. We lost in group stage. The problem was the communication offline. I feel like people were stressed and there are a lot of miscommunication, and if we had a bad early game with AA, we're like 90% chance we will lose the game. It was depending on the early game.
Because what's interesting is, a bit like some of the other guys who are in Fnatic now, who were in Fnatic in season 1. So these 2 teams who were in the season 1 final, Fnatic with a few of the guys who are in your team now, and then your team in the AA had a few guys. The strange thing is, both of you had this early success in 2011, and then in 2012 you both had like similar bad periods of time almost. And so what was really strange for you is, even though you've always been like considered by players, one of the top players at your position, you had this weird period where at the end of Against All Authority, you went to this American tournament, I think it was IPL, and you actually lost to a team who no one would have expected you to lose to, this American team who actually have some players who are in LCS now, like in the bottom 4 teams. And then you went to Millenium and you went to another American tournament and you actually lost to the exact same team again, but under a different name. So they were called Monomaniacs at the first American tournament, and then they were called something else. Team Dynamic was when you lost them next. And so you went to these your first 2 big American tournaments were these ones that ended kind of embarrassingly because your team was like hyped to do quite well of Europeans and then suddenly did really badly. Like what was that period of time like for you? Like were you ever considering like, maybe like I'm not going to be a League of Legends pro for long? What did you think?
No, I was not thinking that. At IPL, basically, we lost to CLG, I think, and then we were in the bracket and we lost to Monomaniac.
Yeah.
So, yeah, after losing to CLG, everyone was really disappointed because we had the game and we just threw it. And around the next day, everyone was, well, mostly 2 or 3 players was in bad mood, and there are a lot of miscommunication and people were raging and saying like I don't want to play anymore during the game. So this game was already lost at the minute 5 or 10 or something like that.
Did that? What do you think that result was part of what made like the team sort of disband?
Yeah, mostly it's like if we are winning, everyone was happy. If we are losing, there are a lot of arguing about each other. Yeah, we should replace this guy or something like that. So
When you came into Fnatic, like the team itself still hadn't got back to being like the top European team. You're still sort of like gradually working your ways up there. And then people always remember this period where you brought in Rekkles, and then suddenly your team had this spike at the end of the year where you did really, really well. When you think back on that period of time, like, was Fnatic already heading in the direction of becoming like a top European team already, and then he joined and it just helped spur things on? Like, what did he add to the team from your perspective? Because I heard that like in scrims even just before then, before DreamHack, you actually weren't doing very well, and then XPK told me like you might not have even gone to IPL as a team if you hadn't have won DreamHack maybe. So what did he add to the team?
Rekkles, yeah, well, everyone was friend at this time. We are really close friends, and we like to play with each other. And what Rekkles did, he was making a lot of calls in teamfight, focus, and actually it helped me a lot when I was playing such champion like Lee Sin. I was always covering him. Yeah, he was getting focused by someone, he just say the name, and I just like, I look at my screen, and I'm like, I'm not gonna go in, I'm gonna go back and help him. He was making a lot of calls, and he had really good mechanics as well. Why we didn't play that good before Rekkles, I don't blame him, but the bot lane wasn't that great with Lamia and Phelox or even Melissan quit before I joined, but they are really passive, and it was not the meta at the moment, so we are always doing equal bottom, and sometimes it was going wrong, but we are not that bad without Rekkles, and Rekkles, when we played with him, it was just going up and up. And yeah, after we won DreamHack, we were like, we can maybe go to IPL, but it was not sure. So we went to IPL and we did good.
So another guy who, during this time just before the Rekkles period, who you actually battled with quite a lot was Angush. And he was even someone he was also like an old school player from 2011. You were constantly meeting him in tournaments across this period. Like, what do you think of him as a player? Like, when you face him, what are his strengths? What do you have to do to beat him, you know?
Angush is the same as Voyboy and Wickd. I want to win my lane. I know his play style really well. He's always gonna put a lot of pressure, and when he's gonna freeze the lane, he's gonna try to go all in on you. And his thing is, he's always using ignite when he have it, just to put you low, and so you need to back and regen. And meanwhile, you're gonna miss maybe one wave of creep. But for him, it's just his playstyle. Always put pressure, use ignite, and that's it. Diving also.
When you had this great result at IPL, which is kind of unexpected, but you came second, and the only team who beat you was this World Elite team who were kind of crazy at this tournament. You got to play against two top laners who are like very highly regarded. So CaoMei from World Elite and Stanley from Taipei Assassins. Like, how much did you actually know about them before those games? I mean, I don't think you'd ever played them before. So, like, did you know much about their style, and then what was it actually like facing them? You know.
I didn't know anything about them basically. I watched the final of season 2, but not much about Taipei. So I know he had this weird champion pool, Stanley, but that's all. I don't think I had any problem against TPA. But the thing is, during final we played like 2 best of 3 and 1 best of 5 in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And during the final we are so tired, so we didn't do that good. But I think if we would have played the next day, we would have do better and maybe win.
How did these two Asian top players actually compare to like your best European and best NA that you've faced? Like, is the hype merited for them? Are they really like above the level of the other players? What do you think?
I don't think so at all. I don't think. I would rate the top laner. I would say that Wickd is one of the best top laner world. Better than most of Asian top laner, like maybe Shy or people like that.
He's better than Shy?
In my opinion, yes. Cause
in what area?
Shy was really good season 2 because his champion pool like Olaf and all these heroes. I know Wicked really well, and I don't know. I didn't see him play so much against Asian, so I don't know if he did good or not. But in my opinion, he is better than most of them.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, another Korean player then, another top player, and this is someone you've actually played quite a few times now, is Flame from Blaze. You played them quite a bit in the last few tournaments. He's someone who obviously came into his own team like not that long ago, so he wasn't super well known outside of Korea. Since you're saying here, like you think Wicked's actually better than even the best Korean top laners, like what was this guy's strengths? Like, you know, everyone hypes the Koreans as like the best. So what do you actually? What's like a reasonable evaluation of this guy's skills?
As we said, like you don't have so much champion, you don't have a big champion pool, but the 5 or 6 champion he played them really well, and that's his strength. And yeah, you have this weird play style that you don't expect him to go aggressive when his jungle is not even here, or you don't even have wards, but he knows that your jungle is not near, so he's gonna go aggressive on you, and yeah.
When we talk about like trying to compare these Asian players, these Koreans to NA, etc., to a lot of fans, I mean, like I said, you know, like they hype the Asians and particularly Koreans as like they're like gods at every position. The other thing is, I read it, and I think it was in an AMA maybe that you did, where you said that you actually didn't think there was that much difference between how top lane is played in Asia and how it's played in EU or NA. Like you thought it was like there wasn't much difference at all. So what do you think it is that, like, are fans actually seeing anything here, or are they just imagining that they're better? Like, because I've heard some people say the thing with the Asians is all of them are like really good mechanically, and then also in team fights they all like they can like sort of they're more coordinated throughout the whole team fight. You know, like at the beginning of a team fight, like the NA team or the EU team might be really good also because they practice that first part. But then once it gets really complicated, they say like the Asians they're coordinated more often. Is there anything to this?
I think that in Europe or NA, most of the teams have 1 or 2 really good players at mechanics.
Yeah.
And in Asia, maybe per team it's like 3 or 4. So it's harder to win lane or stuff like that. And for team fights, they play much more than us. And I don't think they are more quality. In Fnatic, we are quite good at team fighting, so I think they have just better players, like out mechanics and stuff like that.
Do you think that, I mean, is this because, for example, since they have so many players, they can just pick only the good mechanically ones? It's not that they're doing some special training or anything, or extra training on that area?
The thing is, if you're bad in Asia, you can get replaced easily because there is a lot of players and good players, so they can always find someone to replace you. So you need to train really hard and improve, and always improve. In Europe, there is not so many big players in solo queue or yeah.
Well, that's interesting then, because a lot of League of Legends players who are from NA or EU always tell me in interviews like, oh, mechanics aren't like that important in League of Legends compared obviously to other games like StarCraft or Quake or something. So they try to downplay it if they don't have such good mechanics. Like, oh, as long as my decision making is really good, I can still win. But do you think this is like like, what advantage does it give if your whole team has really good mechanics? Like, what, aren't you surely getting like very small little gains throughout the game? Like, what do you think?
I think if, like, for example, in Fnatic, if you have two people having good mechanics, you already have a team play. If someone have bad mechanics and you have good mechanics, you don't really know what he's gonna do or something like that. So for example, when I play with Peke and we do like, I don't know, we are waiting in the bush or something like that, I don't know. I feel like with Peke we have really good team play, and I think that's what gives mechanics really good team play and strong laning phase.
Who do you think are the Europeans who have the best mechanics? Like, who stands out to your mind as like, this guy's like on the level of these Asian players we're talking about? Any position. Just who are the first ones that come to mind?
Mid, I would say Peke. When I see him playing at the gaming house or even on tournament when I watch replays, when I see the face cam or even the keyboard, when he plays, for example, Katarina, I don't think many players would be able to do that. Maybe Scar because he played it a lot, but yeah, I think Peke had me top mechanics. I would say Wicked and jungle. I don't think that the Diamond is very popular, but I don't think he's that good at mechanics.
Oh, okay.
What would I say for jungle?
Should I suggest someone?
Yeah.
I heard someone told me Svenskeren is really good mechanically.
Svenskeren used to be quite bad before LCF, and I think during LCS he improved a lot. Right now he's playing quite good, and he's playing the OP junglers like Jarvan and Volleyby and stuff like that. I think he's not that bad at mechanics, I would say.
Oh, okay. Okay, so those are the ones that spring to mind anyway. So another player I wanted to talk about that I touched on there was Reaprered, playing for SK Telecom, because the thing is, people remember when he used to play for Blaze, and Blaze has other star players, etc. But the storyline everyone's heard with SK Telecom is this idea that he just took all the solo queue players and he was kind of like the captain, and he's like, I'll tell you all exactly where to move and all that stuff. A lot of top lane players in Europe and NA especially aren't like the leader of their team. They aren't like the shot caller and all the rest of it. And so, since you've played against this guy, does he do something? Is there something different about facing him? Because not only is he like a star player at the top position, but also he can sort of control all the other players and have them help him, or not. You know, is there something different about facing him in particular?
The thing is, I don't really follow the Asian scene. So.
But I mean, from the games you played against him.
For the play I played against him, I think he's good at mechanics. He's a strong player. I don't think he's that good at many other as many people say.
Oh, okay, a bit overrated.
Yeah, like most of the famous people are a bit overrated, but that's normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's that good. He's really good, but he's not that.
Okay. Was there any difference when you faced him though in this sense though that, okay, so a lot of top laners, like I said, because they're not like, usually they're not even the shot caller, and with the old meta of playing top, you could often just sort of like leave your top laner like on an island just on his own 1v1, and then, you know, the jungler helps bottom or mid or something, and so the rest of the team is playing down here, but he's just like sort of winning his 1v1 up here, so he's off on his own. Whereas in theory, the way that like someone like people say at Mac Noon and they say like Reaprered, they see these guys not only are the star at top player, but they're sort of, because they tell everyone else in the team what to do, like the team sort of follows everything they do. Is there anything different about playing these guys? Is it the same as playing the 1v1 guys? What do you think?
I think it's the same. It's Fnatic, we don't have really shot callers, we have more, everyone is doing calls and we just decide what to do. So yeah, if like Reaprered and Magnum do the calls for everyone, like Reginaldos, I believe, or people like that are, I don't know, they are really good in my opinion, because it's really hard to do that and play in the same time. So, yeah.
I've seen some people say that within your team you sometimes make some of the calls. Like people say yellowstar does from down there, but you also make some during the game. In what kind of scenarios would sOAZ give a call to his team that they have to follow, you know?
It depends on what situation and what mood I am. Like everyone, I think if you're in bad mood or something like that, you're not gonna do much calls. If you're good in your game and you're in good mood, you're gonna do a lot of calls and maybe carry your team by doing those calls. So in our team, it's mostly nRated, Yellow, or me doing the calls. PK sometimes when it's split push, like don't defend this turret. I'm gonna go bottom or top. It depends on what situation we have.
If you think of yourself as a top laner within Fnatic, are you someone are you like are you a greedy top laner? Like if you're playing someone who's like winning the lane against you or something, are you calling for ganks? Are you trying to play more passive? Are you willing to just like try and only go even and let the rest of the map win? Like what's your usual approach, do you think?
It depends. Sometimes I greed, yeah. But I said I have this weird playstyle that I can just change to greedy to just really passive, and so I think that many top players cannot predict what I'm going to do. So.
Are you a player who needs much help from the jungler and stuff at top? Like do you like to 2v1 people and camp them out and stuff?
I always, it depends of what your lady, if your creeper pushes or something like that. I usually, when Silent comes top, it's because I call him most of the time.
Sure.
So, yeah, if those are jungle is not top, I won't call my jungle either. I'm fine one-on-one, but if I'm like sure that other jungle will come soon, I just call Cyanide to counter gank or something like that. And if the jungle is not here and he don't appear soon when I'm pushing the lane at turret, I just told Cyanide to go back to his wolf or something like that, and I will just recall and buy items and wards, and that's it.
Since you brought yellowstar into the team after the Rekkles period where things were going really well, some people who didn't know the history of League of Legends would probably have thought like, oh, Fnatic's level will go down or it'll be difficult to switch to this new player at AD carry. But actually, obviously you've played with yellowstar like long into the past, and I read somewhere that he's actually the guy who brought you into the pro scene, like you were just playing solo queue and you met him and that's how you became a pro. So is it the case that you and nRated already had like some existing team play that was instantly able to be put into play? Like how was it to bring him back into a team that you were in?
Actually, at the beginning it was really hard for bot lane. They still had a bit of team play, but not that much, and the meta changed a lot. yellowstar didn't play for a team since AA mostly. He was playing for SK after that, and he quit after season 2, so for 1 month or even more he didn't play for any teams. So we need to practice a lot with him, and I think our bot lane now is fine. They still have some difficulties about communication, but that's all.
Okay, so since when you had Rekkles in the team, he became quite famous because of this spike in performance. Well, when I was talking to Ocelot about yellowstar when he was in SK, he said that he thought yellowstar's calls were really, really good from AD position, which is usually like a hard position to call from. How did it change, like having him in, does he do this in Fnatic? Is he like the main caller there? Like how has it changed the team in that sense, you know, strategically?
From what I heard from him, he was doing all the calls with RNA mostly in SK in season 2. In Fnatic we are already people doing calls, so he do calls as well, but we don't have a team leader. Everyone do calls and we just decide, yeah, this call is better, so we're gonna do this. And most of the time, everyone agree on what call is better. There is no miscommunication. Sometimes there is, but that's normal because there is no team leader.
If you think of all the top laners you've played in your career, you were saying there, like a lot of the famous ones, they get a bit overrated because they're so famous. You know, you'll think they're a little bit better than people who are less famous. Is there someone who comes to your mind where maybe fans don't recognize him as like, this guy is a top player, and you've always thought of him that way? Is there someone who's underrated in that sense, do you think?
Angush, as you mentioned, yeah, I think he is really good, but he has a bit the style of Darien, of Gambit. Stay on lane, try to put as much pressure as you can, and if he die, you don't really care, he's gonna still be useful.
Okay.
I think Angush is a really good top laner.
If we think of, like if you had to think of another player who plays top, and you could steal one skill of his or one quality that he has and add it to your game to make yourself even better, what would you pick? Like, what have you always thought, like, oh, that guy's so good in that one area, you know? Any player.
From top laners, I would say Voyboy or Wickd for dominating the top lane. I don't do that often. Sometimes I dominate the top lane, but just because of the champion I played, sometimes it's mostly for team fight, or I don't really wanna win my lane. I don't know. Yeah, Voyboy or Wickd for dominating top lane, and I would say they have better mechanics than me, even though I don't think I have really bad mechanics.
Okay. As like a final question, I always do these famous like hypothetical question, okay? And so in this particular scenario, okay, aliens come to Earth and they've surrounded the Earth. They say, oh yeah, we can destroy the Earth, but we're going to play Earth, give it a chance, just play this show match between the Earth and the aliens, okay? But here's what I'm going to do to tailor this to you particularly. So in this particular show match, sOAZ is the captain of Team Earth, okay, and he's going to play top lane. But unfortunately, when they get to Earth, the first thing they do, as everyone knows, is they'd kill all the rest of Fnatic, because it's the first thing you've got to do when you come to Earth if you're aliens. So all of Fnatic, none of them can be picked in this dream team, okay? And the one condition is the aliens are really, really fast at learning stuff. So when they play League of Legends before the match to get ready, they learn all the champions. And so they have a super wide champion pool. So what sOAZ has to do is pick the other 4 players to be in the Earth team, none of them from Fnatic. And they should not only be good players, but they should have the widest champion pool at their position. So who comes to mind for that? Like each other position, really good, but a really wide champion pool. Who would be in this team of yours?
I don't pick Fnatic. And
no, everyone from Fnatic's dead, I'm afraid.
Any players?
No.
Not even Peke?
No, dead as well.
At me, Alexish. Jungle.
It doesn't have to be European, it can be anyone in the world.
I don't. The super famous jungle in Asia who play Zed and Lee Sin, but
Insect?
Yeah, Insect, but I think he's a bit overrated.
Oh, okay.
I would say someone from Europe. I would say Diamond or Diamond. I would say.
Okay. Bot lane.
Bot
lane.
Bot lane. What's that? The support. I really have problem with names from Asian players.
Who are you thinking of? Maybe I can tell you the name.
The support who played a lot of Blitzcrank.
Mad Life?
Mad Life, yeah. Support.
And who for AD carry then?
AD carry, I would say double lift.
Double lift?
Yeah.
Okay. He has a really wide champion pool, you think?
I don't think he has really wide champion pool. He's really good at mechanics and yeah, he always have a good position in team fight. But Adorant is not that good, but I think it just depends on how he's doing his team. But I think he's still a really good player.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a team? Okay. So do you have any final message for people to watch? Someone you want to say hello or thank you to?
Well, I will thanks to you first for the interview. I would like to thank all the fans, all the French fans, and my team as well. That's it.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci à vous.